Hi. So let's go ahead and start video number 2 with a song. All right, so let's talk about books, baby. Let's talk about letter and read. Let's talk about books. Yes, I just made that up on the fly, and don't you dare laugh at me. This is Hope again from Pros Before Bros, and I'm coming at you live and not so in stereo. I'm inside the second bedroom of my house. I decided that the other room that I was originally filming in was too damn dark. Like, it's just dark. I couldn't deal anymore. So, moved into the guest room that is currently vacant, thank God. And I'm here to talk to you about some books. So I'm not sure if my first video is up as of yet. It is loading onto the wonderful world of YouTube right now on very slow speeds. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about the books I've read for the month of August and the book that I'm currently reading as of right now. So let's get a little bit personal and pull you a little closer. Oh, look at that. We're close. We're close now. Okay. So, let's talk. All right, so I got a couple books here. Some are funny and lighthearted. Some are pretty morose, but we'll just jump in there and talk about what I read so far. So, I read a lot of books this month. I know I read probably over 8 so far. But I'm only going to do a review for 4 because I'm trying to make sure that I don't overwhelm y'all with my crazy. Because it can happen, trust me. First disclaimer I'm going to give you is it is about 10 o'clock here in good old Cincinnati. And I am on caffeine right now. But there's still a good chance that I'm going to falter somewhere. Please don't hate. Please don't judge. Just take it for what it is. Okay? All right, good. So the first book we're going to talk about is a very lighthearted adult contemporary by our famous Rainbow Rowell. The book is called Attachments. And honestly, I might be out of the loop on this. She's written a couple books. I told you this was going to happen. Don't you laugh. She's written a couple books. Famously, Eleanor and Park is one. Fangirl is another. I know she's probably written a few more after that. I honestly haven't read any of those books. I feel so bad saying that. I should, as a booktuber, a newly appointed booktuber, I should know about these books, but I don't. So this is the first Rainbow Rowell book I've picked up. Never heard of this book prior to that. The book, I believe it was written in 2011, is an adult contemporary. I wouldn't say it's a young adult. The main characters in this book are in their mid to late 20s, pushing 30. So I'm just going to jump right in here and talk about that. So the book has 3 main characters that we're looking at. We're looking at a gentleman by the name of Lincoln, who's 28 years old. We're looking at a girl named Beth, and we're also looking at her friend Jennifer. All of them, like I said, about the 28 range or getting close to 28. So it's definitely not a young adult. It's more of an adult contemporary. And this is a really quick read. I believe there's only, I think there was only 315 pages in here, I want to say. But the context of how it's written is a quick read, and I'll explain why here in a sec. So just to give you a basic breakdown what to expect with this book. The book focuses more so on the character Lincoln. Lincoln is an IT rep at a famous local news paper, essentially. I believe it's just called simply the Courier. He has, my dogs are going crazy. He has taken this job basically after his sister has been kind of pushing him. So he's about 28 years old. He's very smart. He's very intelligent. He has several degrees from what I can gather. He doesn't really break them down in the book, but you could tell that he's gone to school multiple times. He's really smart, really intelligent, and he lives with his mother. Nothing wrong with that per se, but the reason why he lives with his mother is it's almost like a comfort. It's familiar. He has had relationship issues in the past, and that relationship kind of rendered him. His mother is very enabling in the sense that she loves having her son there, and she would prefer he just stay there and be protected from any sort of heartbreak like he was in the past. His sister Eve, on the other hand, is quite the opposite. She is very driven, very focused. She wants her brother to make smart choices and wants him to thrive rather than be codependent on their mother. So there's a part where he's trying to read What Color Is Your Parachute, and she's trying to, encourage him to read this book and really focus on what he wants to do with his life. Like I said, he gets this job at the newspaper and IT to kind of appease her, to show that he is wanting to do something with his life, whether or not that's exactly what he wants to do with his life. The caffeine's wearing down. So he takes this job. And it's not just any IT job. So you know how in IT you probably think somebody that's, fixing the computers, keeping the server up, repairing printers when they get a ticket. He's not just doing that. So he's hired by the newspaper to basically be a big brother, in the sense that he's watching all the emails that come across as potentially inappropriate for the newspaper. So their staff obviously email each other back and forth regarding stories that they're working on, content that they're working on, etc. He's looking for the ones that abuse that. So we're talking people that send their colleagues dirty jokes, or they say something that is just inappropriate that could possibly be leaked, anything like that. And this is during the time of the Y2K. If you remember Y2K, you'll remember how everybody was so terrified that something was going to happen. And it was a big threat. Turned out it was nothing. But anyhow, so they hire him to basically alleviate that concern, but also watch these servers, or these emails that they get. So he gets these emails and he's reading through them on the company software. They're red flagged for something or another, and the people that are hitting this software alert system on a regular basis are Beth and Jennifer. Beth and Jennifer are content writers for the Courier. Beth, I believe, is more so a content writer / critic. So she goes through like movies and critiques them and gives her final review of them inside the paper. And her and Jennifer are essentially best friends. They tell each other everything that's going on in their life. They have these email exchanges, and most of the time the content of the emails is what's going on in their daily life. So we have Jennifer, who is married to a high school marching band director, and the high school marching band director, Mitch, has been in love with her since college. He wants to have a family. He wants to have children with her. Jennifer's not ready for that step. She's got very cold feet about committing to basically be responsible for another human being. And it all branches out from her relationship with her mother and everything going on with that. And you'll read that as the story progresses. So we have her concerns. And then we have Beth, whose concerns are her younger sister is getting married. She's in a relationship with a man named Chris. And I use the term man loosely. He's very much a little boy named Chris who wants to be a giant rock star musician. He basically lives with her for rent free, doesn't make any contributions to the household at all, and he's trying to pursue his dream. And he doesn't want to commit to her. He doesn't want to get married. And she's just at this slump where she wants what Jennifer has. Jennifer's not quite sure what she wants. So you have that story. And meanwhile, Lincoln's reading these emails. And as time passes, essentially, he ends up falling in love with Beth. He connects with her so well. But the kicker is he's never seen her physically. He just knows of her writing. So you have that kind of creep-tastic factor to it. It is, to me, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So I ended up giving the book 3 stars because of this factor. And it was just, I don't know. For me, it was almost like it was set up like one of those terrible 90s thriller TV movies that you would watch on Lifetime when you were sick or you were playing hooky from school. At least that's what I did. And I'm so happy my mom doesn't have the internet. My God, she'd be crucifying me right now. But anyhow, so it just had that creep factor because he's reading these emails and this is the only thing he knows about this girl. And there's like parts where he, goes by her desk and he's looking at all her things while she's not there. And it was so creepy. I mean, I guess the author was moving towards a direction where it's, romantic. It's a romantic case, but it's unusual. I just read it as creepy. And the sad thing is I loved the book at the end. I liked the ending. I thought it was really good. And, I mean, it was predictable in a sense. It's definitely tropey. But yeah, that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Another thing I really liked about this book is the character Lincoln, for whatever reason, and I don't know, I mean, it's not like really his character gave me this vibe, but the thing that really got me was he reminded me of Jim from The Office, and I have this love infatuation with Jim from The Office. I just adore Jim. So that was another weird little thing too. So I don't know. I mean, it's a good book, but I just couldn't get over the creep over it. So take that for what you will. If you want to read it, I recommend it. Too creepy, but we'll move on. So the next book that I read is more of a serious topic. The book I read is Bad Romance by Heather Demetrius. This has been out for quite some time. It is a beautiful cover, and it's got a beautiful little spine on it. And this is a YA contemporary. I really enjoyed this book. Not to give any spoilers, the book is based off of a character by the name of Grace. Grace is a junior in high school. So this is kind of like her junior and senior year in high school. And put it in the best summary as possible, it's a breakup letter. It's basically a breakup letter from Grace, who's been abused, to her boyfriend who's abusing her. His name is Gavin. Gavin is a year older than her. She met him. He was like a focal point of infatuation for her. She lusted over him for a long time. And I don't even think lust is the right word. She just had this infatuation with him. She enjoyed the fact that he was kind of similar to her, in the fact that he was connected to, he participated in the drama club. He was in a band. He loved to sing. He was artistic in that sense. And she could appreciate that. With herself, she is a big drama club fanatic. She loves music. One of her passions is stage production. So she's always helping with the stage production of all the musicals. And her passion eventually is to go to NYU and actually major in that. She wants to major in theater so she could work on Broadway someday as a production manager. So she has these big, inspiring dreams, and she ends up being in a relationship with Gavin. Gavin ends a previous relationship he's in. There's a breakup, and they don't really talk much about the breakup, but as time goes on, you kind of start thinking maybe that the reason for the breakup is abuse. They never go out and fully say it, but it's kind of alluded. So it starts off like with any abuse. You start off with the backhanded comments, to the demands, to just the absolute worst case scenario. Grace's abuse is very emotional. It's very verbal. It does get physical at the very end. And in the physical sense, it gets sexually abusive. So this book, I'm going to be honest with you, I gave it 5 stars. It's an amazing book. It's a great, great book. And I think every teenager out there should read it. That way they have the warning signs and they know that there is hope in getting out. I think the reason why I'm having such a hard time talking about it is because I had an abusive relationship. My first serious relationship was built on abuse. It was very unhealthy. I still have issues with it, and this book triggered a lot. It triggered a lot of memories. So I want to make sure that I do express that inside this review. If you are a victim of any sort of abuse or you're a victim of rape, please make sure that you know that before going into this book, because there are scenes where that is something that happens. I'm not really an overly emotional person when I'm reading a book. I'm pretty, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? Pretty grounded when it comes to books. I don't get too emotional when I'm reading. This book actually had me crying. It had me really, really torn up for almost several weeks because of the content. And I know people are probably like, why did you put yourself through that? And essentially the reason why I did was I feel like we gloss over the topic of domestic violence. Just like we gloss over the topic of mental illness. They're very important things that we should talk about. I feel like we avoid it just because it makes us uncomfortable, and I don't think that's healthy for anyone, especially teenagers. Teenagers really need to have that experience of see this kind of perspective. They need to have this not only for coping, because when you're in an abusive situation, sometimes it makes you feel like you're the only person alone that understands it, and you can forget that there's other people that want to help you. So it makes you feel like you're not alone when you read this book, but also I just think we need to bring awareness to it, to make sure it doesn't happen as often as it does, and make sure that, you know, anybody that's entering a relationship knows the rights and wrongs of having that relationship, you know? I guess that's the best way I could describe it. But anyhow, the book is very good. It's been out for a while, but I don't feel like it's lost any of its relevance. So I would say definitely pick up a copy of it. It's very good. And at the very end, even though it's so depressing and you feel so gut-wrenching about the, you know, character of Grace, at the very end, she gets the empowerment that she needs. So please check it out. It's amazing. I'm sorry I'm not going into any further detail about it. I just, like I said, it triggered something in me. And I definitely don't want to spoil it. So please take a look at it when you can. And then the next book that I read, I just actually finished it yesterday, and it's kind of popular. It's been out since June of 2017. And you saw the cover already when I was, you know, singing terribly, if that's what you want to call it. It's The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and the name of the author is Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I got this copy from Book of the Month. I actually ordered it right before it canceled because I really wanted to read it. And everybody was saying it was getting ready to sell out. So I was like, I have to pick up a copy so I can read it. It's a historical fiction it actually bases itself in several decades. It's the 50s, the 60s, 70s, 80s, right up to current present time. And it's about an actress. She's considered a bombshell actress. Her name's Evelyn Hugo. She was a popular actress, a fictionalized popular actress of the 50s and the 60s, very respected. When I read it, it kind of reminded me a lot of like a Marilyn Monroe character or Elizabeth Taylor. I would probably lean more towards Elizabeth Taylor. Very, very old Hollywood glamour to it. And from the cover, from the title, as you can see, she's been married 7 times. And you could think to yourself, maybe it's like Elizabeth Taylor with all her marriages, but there's actually there's turns and twists inside the story that kind of explains to you why she was married 7 times, and it's very surprising. I'll be honest with you, when I picked up this book, I didn't think I was going to like it. I picked it up for the simple fact that everybody was gushing over it. Like, it was all over YouTube, it was all over Book of the Month was giving it lots of good reviews. Amazon gave it bunches of reviews. I was on Facebook and everybody was talking about it. It was all over the place. And I think I even saw some reviews over, I think it was Barnes and Noble had a big spread on it at one point in one of their stores. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. I just thought it was overhyped. I will tell you that I gave it the rare 5-star review, just like I did with the book that I just announced before, The Bad Romance. So that's telling you something. So it is really good, and the basics of the story is Evelyn Hugo reaches out to this little-known writer at a Vogue-esque fashion magazine by the name of Monique, and ask Monique to come and write a story. She makes it sound like they're going to have a story written up for the magazine. Well, Monique comes to Evelyn's apartment And Evelyn says, I don't want you to write a story. I want you to write my biography. And I want you to reap all the rewards of writing my biography. And you are alluded to, why is she doing this? Why did she pick this random person that doesn't really have any writing out there? She only has like a few blog posts from my knowledge. She's not really a heavy hitter in the journalism world. Why is she picking her? And there's ulteriors to that. Like there's reasons that she does it, but I'm not going to go into those details. You'll have to find out for yourself. But the book is really great, and the one thing that I absolutely loved about this book is the main character, Monique, is biracial. Evelyn herself is Cuban. So you're, 1950s, you're thinking of the communist Red Scare that was really popular in Hollywood at that time. It's just a perfect combination of diversity. I was floored by this book. Now, I can tell you, if you don't have access to a physical copy of the book, I did listen to the book on, what was it called? Scribd. This is not a sponsored video. I'm going to just say that right now. So Scribd is a monthly service that I signed up for. It's $8.99 per month, and you get unlimited audiobooks, unlimited content such as PDFs, documents, anything like that. And it has such a great collection of books. So I actually listened to this while I was at work. Then when I would come home, I would actually read the physical book. And that's something I would typically never do. But this book was so good, I couldn't get it off my mind while I was at home. So I actually would pick it up and read it. And let me tell you, I lost so much sleep because of this book. But I love this book so much. So definitely check it out. It's a great book. It's amazing. And the final book that I finished reading, and I think I might have mentioned this in a previous video, is Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. I hope I said her name right. It's an older book. It's been out in the market for a while. It's a YA. It's about an alternative universe, a girl named Juliet. She has this power where if anybody touches her or she touches them, she has the possibility to induce pain or possibly kill them. I'm going to leave it at that, just in case you haven't read the book. If you've been under a rock, such as myself, and haven't read the book, yeah, I'm going to keep it very vague. So it's about her, and it's a 4-part book, I believe. It's got 4 different books in the series, and I don't know if they're going to continue anymore beyond that. But I picked this up because a booktuber, and I wish I remembered his name. He seems like he's such a sweetheart. He has a booktube channel on here, and I just love him because he kind of reminds me of me when I was younger, because he likes to go to like Target at 8 o'clock in the morning and pick up these books when they're fresh out. If Target doesn't have them, he goes on a wild tangent and drives all over the place until he finds a copy of this said book. This is one of the books that he was looking for one day. And I don't know. He's just adorable. I love him. I wish I could remember his name. But anyhow, he was talking about how great this book was, and how it just ooey gooey, swoon worthy. So I just went ahead and picked this book up. I wasn't thinking I would fall absolutely in love with it, but it was really good. I gave it 4 stars out of 5 stars. I'm definitely interested in reading and continuing the series. So again, that is Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. Very good book. So yeah, and that's actually on Scribd as well, from what I've noticed just recently. I noticed this shortly after I bought the book. So they have the audio book and they have the PDF of the book. So if you want to check that out, you can. I'm sure I'll probably put a link in the description. Like I said, that is not sponsored. I'll always give my honest review. If anything's sponsored, I'm going to let you guys know. The last book that I wanted to show you guys, and you already probably saw me geek out over it, is the book I'm currently reading, and that's Letting Go of Gravity by Meg Letter. I actually met her here in Cincinnati a couple weeks ago at our Joseph Beth bookstore, which is a local bookstore that is also talked about here in this book, along with some other Cincinnati local haunts. And I, so far, am loving this book. And it's funny, I bought the hard copy, I had her sign it. I've been like cherishing this hard copy hardcore and not letting anybody touch it. I might as well just put it inside a glass box so it's safe from the world, its impurities or what have you. I was so hesitant. I really wanted to read it. And I told my husband, like, shortly, I think it was like a day after, I'm like, I'm going to buy the Kindle book too, because I'm freaking out that something horrible is going to happen to the hardcover. And he's just like, whatever you want to do, Hope, just do it. So I ended up buying the Kindle, and I've been reading it, and I absolutely love it. So the book is focused on two main characters. It's Charlie and Parker. Charlie and Parker are twins. It is often referenced that Charlie is the oldest of the twins. He makes that very clear. And they both are going through their own difficulties. So Charlie is recovering. He's in remission from leukemia. And he got held back from graduating in high school because of all the time that he had to spend while he was ill. He was in the hospital while he was doing chemotherapy. He just did not have the strength to go back to school. Meanwhile, his sister Parker was valedictorian of her high school, and she's getting ready to go to Harvard, and she's always had this dream to become a doctor so she could cure cancer. That's basically the gist of it. She wants to find a way to basically cure this cancer so nobody else has to go through this, not even her brother. She has a longing for the same relationship that she had with her brother when they were younger. They were really close, like twins naturally are. They were very close. And as they got older,